Welcome to BIBO Weekly's Winner's Circle, where winning is always a part of the conversation. Everyone, thank you so much for being back here with us for another great week with another great guest. Yes, and as you know, for those of you that have been watching us for a while, you know that our mission each and every week is to provide actionable, I love that word, everyone, actionable information that you can actually use to get you onto the winning side. That's what we purpose to do each and every week. So now today, we are going to be talking about leadership. And as most of you know, later in the show, we're going to give you a way in which you can connect with us here at BIBO, as well as how you can connect with our amazing guests. Now, today, I have someone here that knows a little bit about leadership. She's been educating and guiding leaders for well over 2 decades, if you can believe that. She's also an author. She's a public speaker. She's an amazing lady who's going to help all of us become better leaders. Join me in welcoming the incredible Amy Riley. Amy, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tracy. I love and appreciate your intention for this show.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you because, wow, leadership. I know it's a broad term. But there's so much to it. We're obviously not going to do it justice in the time that we have here today, but we're going to pick your brain, Amy, and I want folks to walk away with some nuggets, some gems, as I like to say, that they can put into action. So I want to first start with you, Amy. Now, you wrote the book, Courage of a Leader. And if I can brag a little bit, everyone, she was nice enough to include a little bit from yours truly. So Amy, I thank you for that. Thank you. So Courage of a Leader, an amazing book. I'm not just saying that because I'm in it, guys. I'm saying it because it truly is an amazing book. You have to get your hands on it. And then Amy was ambitious enough to create her own podcast called The Courage of a Leader, right? So Amy, I want to know, what was it personally that motivated you to get into the space?
Yeah. So I noticed, Tracy, that whenever I was impressed or inspired by the leaders I got to work with, the leaders I got to observe, I realized they were demonstrating true courage. They were doing the work internally in order to be able to make stuff happen out in the world. And courage really started becoming a theme. And I was like, I want us to talk more about courage and the internal work that it takes to be a powerful leader. That it's not about getting some behaviors robotically right. Yet it's more about our intentions, our beliefs, our commitment to the world, to the people around us, to the work that we do. So I wanted to get that message out.
Well, I think it's a powerful message because when we think of leadership, we automatically think of checks and balances. We think of micromanagement. We think of the boss woman or the boss guy, if you will. We think of all those things when we think of leadership. And I love what you said, that in order to be an effective leader, you absolutely have to be willing to be courageous. And I think that message is lost. So I applaud you, Amy, for bringing that to our consciousness. I really do.
Yeah. And it's more important than ever.
It is.
Post-pandemic, right? And I started this before we knew COVID-19 was even a thing.
That's right.
And yeah, I mean, we really need that courage now to operate in new ways, be comfortable with the flexible work environment, be vulnerable, connect with employees. What do they need? How are they feeling? How do we get creative and support them?
Exactly. I could not agree more. And so speaking of supporting the leaders that are watching right now, because I know we have a lot of you out there that are watching, I'm going to venture to say, Amy, that we're looking at 2 categories of leaders. Those that are watching us right now that are brand new to leadership. Maybe they've just gotten that well-deserved promotion. Maybe they've just gotten that, or maybe they're stepping out on faith and they're finally starting their own business or launching that nonprofit. And now they have a team of people that they have to lead. And this is all new to them. So that's the first category. The second category, Amy, I believe are the leaders that are watching us right now that have been doing this for a while. and maybe they've hit a brick wall. Maybe they're
Mm,
stagnant. And we've all been there, and you're trying to motivate a group of people that just for whatever reason, you just can't seem to get through to them. So we're going to talk about both of those categories of leaders tonight, everyone. And so right about now, make sure you break out that notebook or that iPad or whatever it is that you use to take notes, because we're going to get into it right now. So Amy, starting with that first group, can
yeah.
you give us maybe three, at least three, actionable things that the new leaders, the folks that are scared to death of this new promotion, but yet they really want to do well. What can you give us?
Yeah. Three things I would say, Tracy. Declare your leadership legacy. And I'm happy to explain exactly what I mean by that. Lean into your strengths. I don't try to do it like any other leader. Know your strengths and lead into those.
Okay.
And then be you. Again, be authentically you. Don't apologize for who you are. You bring something unique to this world. What is it? What is it that you can offer your team and your projects?
Okay. Okay. So let's get back. I love those. So let's get back to that leadership legacy. I like that.
Yeah.
I like where you're going with that.
Yes. Leadership legacy is your defined purpose for your leadership. What are you bringing to every interaction, every project, every exchange that you have, right? It could be a new way of doing things, a new set of processes, a business model, or it could be a leadership trait, right? I'm going to bring fostering innovation to everything that I do. I'm going to bring teamwork, right? Or coaching, or simplifying, thought leadership, whatever it might be. The possibilities are limitless.
Right.
And I think some people, and I love that you asked this question for new leaders, emerging leaders, and some might say, hey, maybe they should be leaders for a while before they decide what's this bigger picture purpose or commitment to my leadership. Yet, Tracy, I think it's most powerful to define that right away and start fully living into that. Maybe you don't get it exactly right at the beginning, but if you declare it and you're playing that game full out, right? I'm committed to bringing this to all the work that I do. You're going to find out if you got that right, or if you need to tweak that a little bit, if it's working for you. Is it really bringing the value that you intended it to?
I love it. So if I'm understanding you correctly, Amy, because I want to make sure everyone gets this as they're taking notes, as you should be, folks. Okay. Developing your leadership legacy really is tied back to your authenticity, your uniqueness that you bring to the role. Is that a fair way to kind of paraphrase you there? To not be scared to not conform to maybe the convention of leadership, but to bring your own style to it.
Very, very well said. Yes, it's about leveraging our strengths and knowing where we provide value and where we're passionate. Okay. And where those come together, that's the area of your leadership legacy.
I love it.
I want people to lean into what they're already great at and not think, hey, I'm a leader now. Now I have to learn these 27 new skills.
Right.
Master these. What's already going well that you can further lean into, further develop?
Okay. And then, so we have developing your leadership legacy. And again, we're speaking to our new leaders out there.
Yeah.
Second is lean into that. Don't be afraid to probably take risk, I'm assuming, because you're going to have to as a leader. Trust me, you will. You will as a leader. And then last, you said to be you. And these three things are really tightly coupled, Amy. What is it that differentiates the legacy, the leaning in, if you will, and then lastly, being you?
Yeah, that leadership legacy, it's almost something that lives external to you. Like, here's my commitment, here's my purpose. So that when there's a decision or what's next, what do I focus on? You look to that leadership legacy. What would the legacy want me to do? And that really has us getting beyond our ego, getting beyond any, regular human considerations in the moment and playing big. Okay. And then, yeah, I see so many leaders who don't embrace their strengths, Tracy. They're so natural to us that we don't see the value. Right? Well, I'm just organized. I just approach it that way. It just naturally happens to me. That's your strength.
Right.
That's your superpower. I don't think you need to develop something else. Like, play up what you've already got.
Exactly. I love it.
And then especially for the new leaders, the BU thing comes to mind, because I think people, we have leaders that we've admired and we think we've got to be like this person or that person. Find your way, find your approaches, find what's authentically you, because when we're authentic, that genuineness comes through and people believe us.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And I absolutely love everything you just said. Now I'm going to throw in a little zinger because someone may be watching us and saying, I wish I could do that. But I've just been promoted to, let's say, middle management. And I have to adhere to whatever it is that this company has outlined that us leaders are supposed to do. So how can I, someone may be saying, yeah, this all sounds great, but I'm dealing in a very structured area right now, and I have to contend with all of these rules and regulations.
Yes. This is one of the things that leaders need to deal with, right? Leaders need to be a step ahead in processing new protocols, new processes, new regulations, whatever it is, a new business model, right? Here's the way we're going to do things. And processing that to find the messages, the perspectives that are empowering and feel authentic.
Right.
It's real work. It's the internal work again, right? Because we may be told we're embracing this strategy.
Right.
And a leader might think, oh my gosh, that is not the way I would do this. I don't think that's the right way. That's real work.
Yeah.
To process that. Can I be aligned with that? What are reasons I could be aligned with that? Right? What can I say about this that's authentic and genuine? Right? And do that processing, do that work.
So what you're saying is that when we're faced with trying to do all the things that you gave us, the 3 great things for our newbie leaders out there, and of course we understand that some of you are in a corporate structure or some type of structure that you can't have total autonomy, right? You can't just do whatever you want to do. What you're saying to us, Amy, is even in that tight-knit situation, we first have to process what they're giving us, understand it and interpret it, and then still bring our own, for lack of a better word, flavor to it, if you will, so that now the folks that are working under us or with us can still feel that we're authentic.
Yeah. And lean into the power of that leadership legacy.
Yeah.
Because our leadership legacies can be applied in a variety of situations. Right. So if you're fostering innovation, if you're about streamlining and simplifying things, if you're about creating teamwork, how do you bring that to the situation in front of you?
I love it. Everyone, again, if you are a new leader watching this, she gave you 3 great things to do, and even a bonus, because yes, we realize some of you are out there in corporate America and you have the rules and regulations. You can still bring and create your leadership legacy even in that situation. So I love it. So now we're going to move over, Amy, to our other category of leaders that may be watching us. These are folks that have been doing this for a while. They're not new to leadership. They have been through all kinds of situations and scenarios as a leader, but now they're hitting a brick wall. Maybe they're stagnant themselves. Maybe they've hit a plateau. Maybe they just have employees or teammates now that are just tired and unmotivated, especially given the last 2 years. And so what can we say to these leaders to re-energize not only them, but help them to maybe even re-energize their team?
Great. Love the question. The first answer again is declare your leadership legacy.
You can't get away from that. Can't get away from that.
No, like again, you've had some success, you're a leader. And
Right.
what is that unique value that you've been bringing, right? Fine tune it, declare it, and recommit, if you will, right? This is what my leadership is about. This is what I'm passionate about. And I would want that to invigorate
Mhm.
these leaders that have been at the game for a
Right.
while
Right.
and lived through the last 2 years. Right?
Exactly.
What connect again with what you're passionate about creating through your leadership.
Yeah. And I think we can all know, and I'm sure you know this too, Amy, we all can relate to someone, even if we don't agree with them necessarily, or even if we can't necessarily relate to their exact experience. But when they bring that passion and
Mm,
that realness to whatever it is that they're doing, and tonight we're talking about leaders, when they bring that, it's amazing how people will just want to connect, even if it's not something that maybe they can relate to directly. Is that fair?
yes, yes. And that's really well said, right? How those leaders can inspire us,
Yes.
even when like that's not my thing. I've never thought of that before. I didn't even know I could be interested in that.
Right.
But that leader grabs our attention and we see that authentic passion and commitment.
Awesome. So again, we're back to that leadership legacy that applies to both new leaders and those leaders that have been doing this a while and they need some new blood, if you will, in the game. So we have that. What else, Amy, can we give our leaders that have been at this for a while?
Yeah. So I think I'm going to suggest something that's outwardly focused to team members and something that's more focused inward.
Okay.
Focused outward, give your employees attention,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just tune in to folks. Who are they? What do they need? How are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
How can you support them?
Yeah.
Right? When we do that, when we support others, when we provide them with leadership, the chemical serotonin is released inside of us, and it is energizing. And it helps create long-term connections with other folks.
Right.
And
So in
again,
other words, don't treat your employee like another peg, cog in the wheel, if you will, right?
right,
Really hone in, because again, the last 2 years have been rough and folks are trying to survive, they're trying to work, but they're dealing with a lot of stuff personally. So if I'm understanding you correctly, Amy, you're saying that a really good, effective leader right now understands that and tries to um, personalize the relationship a little bit more with their employee or teammate.
yeah, yeah, and checking in every week.
Okay.
And then the piece that's more internally focused, I'm talking to a lot of leaders who have a lot on their plates.
Mhm.
So we've been talking about how do we leverage, how do we squeeze more juice
Right.
out with the efforts you're already engaged in. Are there more outputs? Are there more ways to leverage this? Right? You're in this game of repurposing things, right, Tracy? You
All
create
the
a
time.
show that creates content for this, it goes there,
All
it
the
goes
time.
on this
Yep.
network,
Yep.
right? So with things that we're already giving our time and our energy, right? What are additional outputs? What are additional ways that this work can benefit other groups?
Okay.
Right? The thing that we're putting together for this group, could other audiences benefit from that?
Mhm.
And also thinking about the inputs, right? These folks are contributing right now. Maybe there's an opportunity to get more people involved.
Mhm.
And this becomes ways to grow our influence, grow our impact when we're thinking more systemically.
I love it. I love it. And I like what you just said about basically cultivating an environment of being inclusive.
Yeah.
Being inclusive. We all know that there's a shift going on right now in how folks are working, how they are thinking about work from not only their location, again, the remote workers versus the folks who want to go back to the office. I mean, you have that whole, the hybrid models, all those things are happening. And what's also happening that I've noticed, Amy, is just the whole way that people are doing business right now is so different. And if you're a leader who's been at this for a while and you're still stuck in things that were working 10 years ago, it may not work now. So we're going to have to learn to be a little bit more, as Amy said, a little bit more in tuned to the folks that are working with you and for you, and being a little bit more inclusive and creative.
It's exactly right, Tracy. A lot of leaders are concerned about the impacts of the remote working environment on their culture.
Right.
And one of the ways to strategically strengthen your culture is to reinvent processes from the lens of inclusion.
I like that.
Right? How do you include more people, more views, more perspectives, more stakeholders in how you conduct business, in how the processes work, right? And who leaders reach out to get input on the decision.
Exactly. And maybe by doing that, Amy, and I'm going out on a limb here, but maybe by doing that, you actually get more buy-in from the folks that work with you and for you, because now it becomes not just a dictatorship. It becomes, hey, we all have something at stake here. And if I, as an employee or as a, I hate to use the word subordinate, but I'll use it. I hope you guys know what I mean by that. But if I, as a subordinate to you, Amy, who's my boss, I come to you with some really fresh ideas and some really innovative ways of doing something in a given process. And then you, A, hear me, and then B, take that to upper management, and lo and behold, they approve it. I mean, I'm going to feel pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel better about my job. And I'm definitely going to feel better about you, Amy, as my immediate boss. So I think, and this happens all the time. I've seen it happen. I've seen the reverse where ideas are ignored, and what that does to morale.
It just shuts people down.
Shuts down.
And we need, Tracy, not only the leaders thinking about how to be inclusive, but inviting every team member.
I like that.
How to be inclusive, right? How do you get input from other functional areas in your organization? How do you not keep going to the same people when you have questions or want to get ideas, right? Encouraging each person to reach out and include in different ways.
I love it. I love it. And speaking of hybrid models of work now, Amy, you are now working on an ebook, from what I understand. That I don't know if it's available yet. If not, it's close. It's close, and it deals with this hybrid team. And can you tell us a little bit more? Can you give us a preview of what we can expect? Because that is the way of the future. Either working at home 100% or part of a hybrid model. And leaders are going to have to know how to navigate both of those new waters.
Absolutely. The Courage of a Leader did an online poll. What work environment is your company moving to this year? Yeah. And 99% were either fully remote or hybrid.
Wow.
So we're gonna have people working from home. The ebook is called How to Build a Happy and Successful Hybrid Team and Become 10 Times More Productive.
I love it.
I think we have a unique opportunity here, Tracy.
You do.
COVID came 2 years ago. We reacted, we responded, we did what we had to do, and people came together and showed us how amazing they are. We persevered. We showed our resilience, our innovation, our resourcefulness.
Yes.
Right? Now there is the opportunity to not react, but to be proactive, right? To be intentional. How do we want to, given that employees want flexibility now, how can we have our team still be more extraordinary than ever? There's great capability out there. So there's secrets in there about how to strengthen your culture. We talked about one of them today, reinventing your people and business processes from the lens of inclusion. And there's also, beyond the basics, what are some of the advanced tactics to have truly engaging virtual meetings that create the results that we need.
Exactly.
So there'll be practical advice in there, Tracy.
I love it because yes, the new world order when it comes to work is definitely either going to be hybrid or 100% remote. I think no one can refute that at this point. But at the same time, you have the issue of folks being zoomed out.
Yeah.
And we're back to the whole, how do you re-energize and invigorate your team as a leader, right? So it comes full circle. Even though these two new ways of doing business, if you will, are going to probably be what we're going to be dealing with for the foreseeable future, we're still dealing with some technology and some things that folks are just tired of after 2 years of this pandemic. So I think everyone, you need to pick up a copy of that ebook, because I'm sure Amy's going to give us some things that we can use to keep that energy and keep that morale up with those that are working for you or with you, and still embrace this new world or work order that we're all going to be facing.
Yes.
Love it.
So that'll be available before the end of the month.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. And really quickly, because we're coming up, believe it or not, everyone, we're coming up towards the end of this part of the show here, but you are also a certified professional behavioral analyst. Did I get that right, Amy?
Yes, you did.
Okay, that's
it sounds fancy, doesn't it?
I was treading lightly, everyone, treading lightly. But that you are also that.
Yes.
And I know we have like maybe 2 minutes. Can you kind of give us a high level of what that is and why is that so important to leadership?
Yeah, absolutely. So straightforward, it means that I'm certified in the DISC personal profile system.
Okay.
I'm also certified in other style assessments because, Tracy, I'm a big believer that as leaders and inside of teams, when we understand our style, we can lean into that. We understand the strengths of it, the pitfalls of it, right? And we can operate accordingly, and that helps us be most powerful. And then I've seen time and time again, I love working with teams on style assessments and understanding how others operate and how do we work together most effectively given our different preferences.
I love it. And I know, again, we're not going to do that topic justice here because of time constraints, but we may have to get into that with you at another time, because I think that whole area is really interesting. And again, I know there's some more nuggets in there that are going to help our leaders. So we may have to revisit that really, really soon. But for now, Amy, you have given us quite a bit in the time we've had here. And so if someone is listening, watching and listening to this, and they want to connect with you more directly, they want to get their hands on that ebook coming out very soon, but they really want to kind of pick your brain a little bit more, how can they connect directly with you?
I would send you to the Courage of a Leader website. It's www.courageofaleader.com. You can find resources and tools out there to support you all as leaders. And if you go to the products page, you'll see the How to Build a Happy and Successful Hybrid Team product out there, and you can sign up to be notified when it's available.
Awesome. Everyone, make sure you head over to courageofaleader.com, get your hands on that ebook, and also make sure you get your copy of The Courage of a Leader. That, again, is an amazing book filled with all sorts of valuable advice for leaders, new as well as our seasoned leaders out there. Amy, I thank you for sharing all of this with us and inspiring those who are new to leadership and those who are trying to re-energize what they do as it relates to leadership.
My pleasure, Tracy. Thank you for having this forum weekly. What an amazing commitment.
Thank you. And everyone, of course, we invite you to join us at the World of BIBO and get connected more with BIBO and all the things that we do. You can go over to worldofbibo.com. That's worldofbibo.com. Now, again, we're going to be back here in the Winner's Circle next week with another amazing guest and more actionable information for you to use to stay on the winning side. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, as I always say, and most of all, everyone, stay blessed. We'll see you next week.